All right, so to start this project, we are going to be, I'm using a size 4 yarn. I'm going to use some of that Yarn Bee Soft Secret yarn so that you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm also using a 5mm hook in this case. Not sure if that's going to show up for you guys with my light, but you're going to go ahead and get started by doing a slip knot to start. So you're going to wrap your yarn around your 2 fingers. And I like to do it where I can grab in between my index finger and thumb, the tail of the yarn. And then you're going to move it over. And then you can go ahead and pinch and pull back to create that slip knot. And we're going to go ahead and slide our hook on. And now we're going to be making foundation ovals. And you're going to be referring down to the description on the number of foundation ovals that you need to make for your particular size. But for those of you who are going to be going off the information down below, the foundation ovals are done in multiples of 2 foundation ovals plus 1 at the end to create the Claira Belle top. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to chain up 4. So you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to go ahead and pull it on through the loop that's on your hook. That's 1 chain. So we're going to chain 4. So here's number 2. Here's number 3 and number 4. So now we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook and we're going to go back down into this very first chain that we created and we're going to insert our hook. And I like to get under both little bumps there, both little parts of the stitch under the V. So you're going to go underneath there and you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to pull up a loop. You're going to grab your yarn and pull through 2. You're going to grab your yarn and pull through 2. And you're going to grab your yarn and pull through 2. So that creates our first foundation oval. And like I said, this is going to be done in multiples of 2 foundation ovals plus 1 at the end. So we're going to go ahead and do another foundation oval. So we're going to grab our yarn and chain 1. And that's where I want you to go ahead and pinch if you're not familiar with foundation ovals. You want to pinch that very first chain you made. And now we're going to chain up 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. So that's a total of 4 chains again. We're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. And we're going to come back down to that chain that we were pinching. And that's where we're going to insert our hook into that stitch. So we're just above the foundation oval that we created. And hopefully you guys can see from that angle. So we're going just above that and going into that very first chain. And we're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn again and pull through 2. We're going to grab our yarn again and pull through 2. And we're going to grab our yarn again and pull through 2. And that creates our second foundation oval. So now you're going to continue on chaining up 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and creating your foundation ovals. And when you have the number of foundation ovals you need to create your top, you're going to meet back up with me and we'll move on to row 1. So you're just going to keep repeating that until you have all the foundation ovals you need. Make sure you check your count at the end. We'll meet back up and move on to row 1. All right, so you're meeting back up with me. You finished your foundation chain. Obviously, yours is going to be a lot longer than mine. You're going to lay that chain flat and make sure that you don't have it twisted. And by twisted, I mean when they are twisted, the chains, the foundation ovals, are twisted, they will kind of bump like that. So you can see that twist. We want to make sure that we keep them nice and flat and straight the whole way through as we work this first row. So we're going to go ahead and jump over into this foundation oval, the very first one. So I like to just insert my hook right there into that oval and grab my yarn and do a slip stitch. So I'm going to pull up that loop and pull on through the loop that's on my hook. So that gets me right there into position in that foundation oval. So now we're going to chain 1. And we're going to come back down into that foundation oval and work right around it doing a single crochet. So we're going to pull up our loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2. Now we're going to do 1 more single crochet right here into this first foundation oval. So we go directly into that oval, working right around those chains. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. So now we're going to move on over to the next foundation oval, but to get there, we're going to need to chain. So we're going to be doing a repeat. This is where our repeat starts. Right now, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to move over here into this next foundation oval. So we're coming right over here to that next foundation oval, and we are going to start doing triple crochets. So we're going to do 3 triple crochets into this foundation oval. So to start those, we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. And I like to just use my pinky to kind of pull this other foundation oval over out of my way. I'm going to go right there into that next foundation oval. We're going to work right around that oval. So we're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. And we're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2 to end that out. So that's our first triple crochet. We're going to need to repeat this 2 more times in the same foundation oval. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook twice. We're going to go back down in that same foundation oval and draw up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. Grab our yarn and pull through 2. So that's our second. Now we're going to do our third one. So we're going right back down that same oval. We're going to grab our yarn, pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. Now we're going to need to chain a total of 3 times, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to wrap again twice around our hook. And we're going to do 3 more triple crochets right down here into that same exact foundation oval. So we're just scooting over the stitches we already have. And we're going to do 3 more triple crochets right there into that oval. There's 1. So now I'm going to do number 2. And now I'm going to do number 3. Wrap twice, back into that same exact foundation oval, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. And now we're going to move over to this next foundation oval, still a part of this one repeat. We're going to chain 4 and go over here to this next foundation oval. So we're going to chain 4. So there's 2, 3, and 4. And we're jumping over here into this next foundation oval. So as you can see, we've worked all that in here. Now we're moving over here to this one. We're going to do 3 single crochets to end out our repeat. So there's 1 single crochet back into that same foundation oval. Do a second. And back into that same one, do a third. And now our repeat's going to begin again. So we're going to chain again, just like we did to start out. We're going to chain 4 to start our repeat. We're going to move over here to this next foundation oval, and we're going to be doing our 3 triple crochets, chain 3, 3 triple crochets, all into this next foundation oval. So we're going right there into that oval. We're going to do our first triple crochet. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again, do our second triple crochet, all working right there in that same foundation oval. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, wrap twice around our hook, back into the same exact oval. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So we've done 3. Now we need to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to work again 3 more triple crochets all into this very same foundation oval. So here's my first one. Number 1. Number 2. And last but not least, number 3. That's what our work's looking like. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to come over here into this next foundation oval, and we're going to do the 3 single crochets to end out our repeat. So there's 1, there's number 2, and number 3. That ends your repeat. So you're going to go ahead and pause here, and you're going to work on down the rest of your row, and we're going to meet back up at the end of the row after you've worked in all your foundation ovals. We're going to meet back up then so that we can go ahead and move on to row number 2. For those of you who are meeting back up with me, we're going to go ahead and finish out these last 2 foundation ovals together. So I'm going to chain 4 to start that repeat. I won't be able to finish it because I'm right here at the end. So right here, just like I did before, I'm going to be working my 3 triple crochets into this next oval, and I have 1 left after that. So I'm going to do 3 triple crochets, chain 3, 3 triple crochets all into that same foundation oval. So there's number 2. Here's number 3. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to wrap twice around our hook again and come back down in that same exact foundation oval. And we're going to go ahead and do 3 more triple crochets. 2, pull through 2, wrap twice around my hook, back down into that same oval, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So now we have this last foundation oval to deal with. So to get over there, we're going to chain 4 just like we have been. So same thing that you have been doing. And now we're going to be ending this row just like we began. So we're going to go right here into this foundation oval, and we're going to do 1 single crochet. And then we're going to go into the top of this part of the foundation oval to do our last single crochet. So there's 2 single crochets at the beginning, and there's going to be 2 single crochets at the end. So if you take a look, I'm in part of that foundation oval. It's basically the last stitch of it over here on this side. And I want to make sure that I'm under both of those, under the V. And I'm just going to grab and pull up my loop, grab and pull through 2 to do that last single crochet. So when you are done with all of your foundation ovals, you are going to have a long chain of this. And it doesn't look like much now, but we're going to keep working on it, and it's going to really transform. So now we're going to move on to row 2. All right, so to move on up to row number 2, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to turn our work, so you're going to have a much longer chain of foundation ovals to move than I do. And now we're going to go ahead and get started. We immediately jump into the repeat on this row. So we're going to be doing triple crochets, and we're going to start working over here. So we've got a chain 5 already on our hook. So we're going to wrap twice around our hook, and we're going to skip the single crochet. We're going to skip that chain 4, and we're going to come right here to where we have the 3 triple crochets, chain 3, 3 triple crochets. So we're going to start right here in this very first triple, and we're going to do a triple right there into the top of it. So I'm going to insert and pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Now we're going to repeat that 2 more times into these next 2 triple crochets from the previous row. So we're going to go right there into the very next one, pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And we've got to do that one more time. We're going to go right here into the very next one, and we are going to complete a triple crochet right there. Now we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we're going to skip over this chain 3 right here. And we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. And we're going to do a triple crochet into these next 3 triple crochets from the previous row. So we're still right here in this section, in this foundation oval, working above it. We're going to go right here into this very first stitch and do our triple crochet. So we're going to pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. Now I'm going to grab onto that chain 9 and kind of pull things over out of my way. So I'm going to wrap twice again. I'm going to go right here into this very next stitch, and we're going to do our triple crochet again. So I'm going to pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. And we're going to need to do that one more time. So we're going right here to this very next stitch, inserting right there into the top of it. And we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. So now we're going to go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to end our repeat. So this chain 3 ends our repeat. So now we're going to start doing our triple crochets again. So we're going to start our repeat again. We're moving over here to this next little section. So we're going to be skipping over this chain. We're going to be skipping over the 3 single crochets, skipping over this chain, and moving over here into this section now. We're repeating the same thing that we just did. We're going to do that together one more time. So we're going to skip over all of this, and we're coming right here to these 3 triple crochets in this section. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook twice. We're going to come right here to this very first triple crochet, and we're going to start doing our triple crochets again. So we're beginning our repeat, and we're going to do the 3 triple crochets into the next 3 stitches. So here I've done 1. Now I'm going to move on to this next one. Wrap twice around your hook. Go into that very next stitch, right there on the top of it. And pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Wrap twice around your hook again. We're going to do that one more time. Insert right there to the top of that triple crochet from the previous row. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Now we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we're going to come back and skip over this chain 3. So we've just worked our 3 triple crochet here. We're going to skip over that chain 3 space. We're going to go right here into these next 3 triple crochets, and we're going to triple crochet 1 into each of those stitches. So there's our first one. We're doing our first triple crochet. Now we're going to wrap twice around our hook again. We're going to come right here to this very next one. And we're going to do our triple crochet. And we're going to wrap twice around our hook and do our triple crochet. And now we chain 3 to end our repeat. So 1, 2, and 3. That ends our repeat. So we're going to start again by skipping over all of this chains. So this chain, the 3 single crochets, this chain over here. And you're going to move into your next section just like this one right here. So you're going to be starting with your triple crochets again. You're going to do a triple crochet in each of these next 3 stitches. So come right here into this very first one. And you're going to pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. There's number 1. Wrap 3 times. Do that all over again. Here's our third one. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now we have to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we're going to be skipping over that chain 3, and we're going to come over here and work in these last 3 for me. You guys are going to have a lot more to do than I do. So you're going to work in your next 3 triple crochets, doing a triple crochet in the top of each. There's 1, here's 2, and here's number 3. And then you're going to chain 3 after you've worked both those sets. You chain 3 to end your repeat. So you can go ahead and pause here and work out all of the rest of your row. Your work is going to be looking just like this. These chain 9s and these sets of triple crochets. And we'll meet back up when you're ready to finish out the end of this row. All right, so when you get here to the end of your row, you guys should be meeting back up with me at the end of your row. You are going to have worked one of these sets right here where you've done your 3 triple crochets, chain 9, 3 triple crochets. But this time you do not do the chain 3 to end out your repeat. We're right here at the end of this row. So we are not going to chain 3 this time. We're going to wrap our yarn around our hook 3 times. There's 1, 2, and 3. And right here on the previous row, you'll see that it ends with the 2 single crochets. We want to go right here into that second one, the one that's at the very end of the row. Make sure we get under the V, work into both. Under the V, we want to go into both those little loops, right underneath them. Now we're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. And now we're going to start pulling through 2. So we're going to grab our yarn, pull through 2. Grab our yarn, pull through 2, grab our yarn, pull through 2, grab our yarn, pull through 2 to end out that row. So now we're going to go ahead and move on up to our next row. We're going to chain row 3. For row 3, we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to turn our work. So now for row 3, we're going to begin doing some clustering. So we're still going to be doing our triple crochets, but we're actually going to do a triple crochet cluster. And it sounds hard, but it's really not. So I'm going to show you guys. You're going to start out, you're going to wrap your yarn twice around your hook. And you're going to go right here into this very first set of the 3 triple crochets from the previous row. So to give you an idea of where you are, you're on this part right here. So we're going to wrap twice around our hook, and we're going to go right here into this very first stitch and insert our hook right there on the top of it and pull up a loop. We are going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with the 2 loops here on our hook. So now we've got to do that 2 more times for this section. So we're going to wrap twice around our hook. We're going to go right here to this very next stitch, insert into the top of it, pull up our loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, and then we're going to hold it with the 3 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again. We're going to go right here into this 3rd stitch. We're going to go right there into the top of it. And we're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2. We're going to grab and pull through 2. And we're going to hold it with 4 loops on our hook. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our yarn, and we're going to turn our hook down towards our project. So you see you've been working with it like this if you're paying attention to my head of my hook right here. You're going to turn it down where it's facing evenly with your project. So hopefully you guys can see from this angle. So we're just going to turn it downward. We've already got our yarn grabbed, and now we're going to go ahead and pull through all 4 of those loops to finish that out. And you just clustered right there. Nice and easy. So now our repeat's actually going to begin for this row. So we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 begins our repeat. And we're going to be jumping over here to this chain 9. So we're coming right over here, and we're just going to go right around that chain 9. And we're going to do 3 single crochets. So we're going to pull up a loop and pull through 2 to do our single crochet. So there's 1. We need to do a total of 3 right there around that chain 9. So we're just working on that chain 9 and doing a total of 3 single crochets, just like so. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to be jumping over here, and now we're actually going to cluster these 3 triple crochets and these 3 triple crochets together. So we're going to be basically bridging this gap. So we're going to go ahead and get started, walk you through it. It's very, very easy. So we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. We're going to come right here to that very first stitch. So we're skipping over the rest of that chain 9 and coming right there. Take a look at where you are on your work. You're coming right here. We're going to work on clustering this and this together. So we're going to go ahead and wrap twice around our hook. We're going to come right here to this very first stitch and insert. We're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. Grab our yarn and pull through 2 and hold it with 2 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap twice again. We're going to come right here to this very next stitch and go right there into the top of it. Pull up a loop. Grab and pull through 2. Grab and pull through 2. We're going to hold it with 3 loops there on our hook. So now we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook twice again. We're going to come right here to this third stitch. Insert right there into the top of it. Pulling up a loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2. We're going to grab and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 4 loops on our hook. Now we're going to wrap twice again, and we are going to come over here. We're going to skip over this chain 3, and we're going to come working these next 3 triple crochets. So we're going to go right there in that first one, grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 5 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again. We're going to come right here to this very next stitch. We're going to work right there on the top of it. We're going to pull up our loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2. We're going to grab and pull through 2. And we're going to hold it with 6 loops on our hook right here. You count them. Now we're going to do it one more time. We're going to wrap twice around our hook. We're going to come right here to this last triple crochet. So we're right here before this chain 9. We're going to go right there into the top of that. And we're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to hold it with 7 loops on our hook. So now we're going to grab our yarn and we're going to turn our hook down towards our project. So the top of our hook is now facing down. It's normally like this when we're working. Turn it down and we're going to pull through nice and gentle. Pull through all of those stitches. And you've just clustered that all together. So now we're going to chain 5 to begin our repeat again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or I'm sorry, we're moving over. We're still... Well, yeah, I guess that begins our repeat again. We're going to chain 5 to begin our repeat, like I said. And we're going to be moving over here to this chain 9 space. We're going to be doing 3 single crochets right there on that chain 9. So there's 1. Here's number 2. And here's number 3. And we're going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to have to come over here and cluster again. We'll do that one more time together. When you finish doing the 6 triple crochets, clustering those, that's the end of your repeat. So we're going to go ahead and wrap twice around our hook. We're going to be skipping over the rest of this chain 9, coming right here to these triple crochets. We're going to work in all 6 of those. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go right there into this very first one. Insert our hook, grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, and hold it with 2 loops on our hook. Wrap twice again around our hook. We're going to come right here into this very next stitch. Insert and grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, and hold it with 3 loops there on our hook. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again. We're going to come right here to this third triple crochet, insert and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2, and hold it with 4 loops on our hook. Now we're going to wrap twice around our yarn or our hook again. And we're going to jump over, skipping over this chain 3 and coming over to these next 3 triple crochets. Going to go right there on the top of the very first one. We're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. And we're going to hold it. We've got 5 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again. We're going to come over here to this very next stitch. Insert and pull up a loop. And grab our yarn and pull through 2. Grab our yarn and pull through 2. And hold it with a total of 6 loops now on our hook. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again. We're going to come right here to this very next stitch. We're going to insert, grab, and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. Now we've got 7 loops on our hook. We're holding at 7. That's our signal that we're done. So we're going to grab our yarn. We're going to turn our hook down towards our project. And we're just going to go ahead and gently pull on through all of that. So I kind of shift my work with me to gently pull through because you're holding a lot right here. So now your repeat's going to begin again. You're going to be chaining 5, doing your 3 single crochets right there on that chain 9, chain 5. Then you do the cluster of the 6 stitches all together. That ends your repeat, and then you start over again with your chain 5, 3 single crochets on the chain 9, chain 5, and cluster together. So we're going to come back and you're going to meet back up with me at the end of your work, and we'll finish out the end together. So you're going to go ahead and pause here and keep working in that same way, nice and easy, on down the rest of your row. All right, so you're meeting back up with me. You're towards the end of your row. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the end of my row with you. I've just clustered together those 6 triple crochets. So now I've got a chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to be coming over here. I've got one last chain 9 left to work. So I'm going to work right around that, doing my 3 single crochets, just like we've been doing. So there's 1, here's number 2, and here's number 3. And now I'm going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And just like when we began the row, right here at the very end, we only have 3 of the triple crochets to cluster together. So I'm going to wrap my yarn twice around my hook, and I'm going to go right there into that very first one, and I'm going to cluster those 3 stitches together, just like we've been doing. So I'm going to pull through 2, and hold it with 2 loops on my hook. Going to wrap my yarn twice around my hook again. I'm going to come right here into this very next stitch, keeping in mind we're here at the very end of the row. And I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it with 3 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to wrap my yarn twice around my hook again. I'm going to go right there into that very last triple crochet, pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it with a total of 4 loops on my hook. So now I'm going to grab my yarn, and I'm going to turn my hook down towards my project and go ahead and pull through all 4 of those loops. So now we've got to end out this row, and to end out this row, we're going to be doing a triple crochet into the top of the chain 5. So if you remember down here when this row began, you actually had to do a chain 5 to begin this row, row 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting up from the bottom. That's how I'm going to identify what chain I'm going to work into. So you just have this chain here on the side, so you're going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting those V's. And I'm going to make sure that my yarn is wrapped twice around my hook. And right there is the top of the chain 5. So we're going to insert into the top of the chain 5. We're going to grab and pull up a loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2. Grab and pull through 2. Grab and pull through 2. And that ends out our row. So this is the end of row 3. We're going to move on to row 4. There's only a total of 6 rows for this repeat on this project. So we are halfway there now. So we're going to go ahead and start row 4 together. So you're going to go ahead and chain up to begin row 4. You're going to go ahead and chain 4 to move on up. So I'm going to get some more yarn out. So now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we can turn our work. And we're going to go ahead and work 3 triple crochets all right here into this very first stitch. So we're going to go ahead and wrap our yarn around our hook. We've got our chain 4 right here, and we're going to go in. If you look right here, there's this perfect little space that's made from the clustering. It's like a perfect little spot. Let me try to stretch this out so you guys can see. So when we clustered everything together, there you go. We're going to go right there. That's going to be the spot that we're going right into to do our 3 triple crochets. So we're going to do a total of 3 triple crochets right there into that little space that was created from our clustering. So we're going to insert and pull up the loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2 to finish that on out. So that's 1 triple crochet. So now we're going to do that 2 more times right here in that same exact spot, going right in there, doing our 2nd triple crochet. And now we're going to wrap twice again and do our 3rd triple crochet right there into that spot. So now we're going to chain 4 and we're going to move over 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to move over here to where we have done the chain, the single crochets here on the chain 9, sorry. So we're going to be skipping over this chain that we created, chain 5, and we're going to go right there to those 3 single crochets, and we're going to insert and do a single crochet into each of those. So you're just going to do a single crochet into each of those single crochets from the previous row. 1 into each. And now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you take a look right here, we've made it over. I'm going to lay my work down, I'll stretch it out for you guys. We've made it over to this spot right here where we did our cluster work. So we're going to identify that same little perfect little loop that we created from clustering, and that's what we're going to work into. We're going to go ahead and wrap our yarn around our hook. And there you go. You can see it right there. That's the spot we're going to go into. We're going to do 3 triple crochets right here into this spot. 2 and 3. So we're going to wrap again. Go back down that same exact spot. And finish out doing a total of 3 triple crochets from the second one. So I've got 1 more to go, going right back down that same exact spot, doing my last triple crochet. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to wrap my yarn twice around my hook again. I'm going to go back down that same exact spot and do 3 more triple crochets. So we're squeezing a total of 6 triple crochets all into that one little space that we created when we clustered those stitches below together. So there's 2. And all back down in that same spot, there's number 3. And this is what you're going to have. So your repeat begins with that chain 4. So we're going to start our repeat again. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to be skipping over the rest of this chain right here and coming right there to the 3 single crochets that we have on that chain 9. So we're in that section now. We're going to come right there into the very first single crochet and do a single crochet into that one. Try not to split your yarn. That's what I'm having a problem with. And we're going to go into the second one, doing a single crochet and a third into that 3rd single crochet. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're back over here where we clustered together. So we're going to be doing 3 triple crochets, chain 3, 3 triple crochets, all in that little space that we created when we clustered all that together. So we're going to go right there into that. And we're going to wrap our yarn twice to do those triple crochets. We're going to come right there into that perfect little space we created and do 3 triple crochets. There's 1. Here's number 2. And here's number 3. Insert it, pull up that loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to go back down in that same exact space and fit 3 more triple crochets all down into that same space. So we've got 1, and wrapping twice around my hook again, going back down that same space to do number 2. And wrap 2 more times, go back down that space a 3rd time, and finish out that triple crochet, and that ends your repeat. So you're going to go ahead and pause here, and you guys are going to keep working on down your row. You're going to be doing your chain 4 begins your repeat. You're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 in each of the single crochets from the previous row that are right there on that chain 9. So you're going to do 3 single crochets, a chain 4, and then you are going to place 3 triple crochets, chain 3, 3 triple crochets, all into the top of those 6 stitches that we clustered together on the previous row. So you're going to go ahead and work on down your row, and then you're going to meet back up with me when you're ready to end out row 4. All right, so you're meeting up with me here at the end of row 4, and I've got a chain 4 on my hook because I've just completed my last set of the 3 single crochets. So I've got a chain 4, and I'm right here at the end of my row, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap my yarn. I'm going to be skipping over the rest of these chains right here. That's chain 5, I believe. And we're going to be finding our cluster, top of the cluster, just like we've done on the other stitches. So we're going to find that top real quick. See it right there? Top of our cluster is right there. We're going to do our 3 triple crochets right there into the top of that, just like we did at the beginning of the row. So there is 1. Here is number 2. And number 3 to end out that row. So work all of that right there into that one space. And now we're going to wrap twice around our hook, and we're going to find the top of that chain 4 that ended or began this previous row. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to find the top of that chain 4 and insert right there into it. And we're going to finish out with a triple crochet right here at the end of the row. So now we're able to go ahead and move on up to row 5. So to move on up to row 5, we're going to go ahead and chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to turn our work. And we need to go ahead and chain 4 more times. So we're going to have a total of chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oops. Sorry, only needed 4. So you're going to have total of chain 9. So let's check that real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So total of chain 9. The first 5 chains, we're going to be working into those. So that's why I said chain 5 and then move up, because this is part of our row right here that we're working, our row 5. So now we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. And if you notice right here, we've got these 3 triple crochets. We're going to work a triple crochet into the top of each of those. So you're going to go ahead and wrap twice around your hook. And you're going to go ahead and work 1 triple crochet in the very first stitch. Wrap twice. Move on right here to the very next. And we're going to wrap, we're going to pull up on through. We're going to finish out our triple crochet. Sorry. So here's our third one. We're going to go right there into that. Pull up a loop. Try not to split your yarn. I'm in trouble with that with this one. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. All right. So now we're going to be moving on row 5. We're going to be doing a chain of 3 to move on over. We're going to go ahead and chain 1, 2, and 3. And this begins our repeat for this row. So the chain 3 begins that repeat. We're going to wrap twice around our hook. We're going to go right over here. So we're going to skip over the chain, the single crochets and the chain, and we're going to come right over here to this next section. So we're going to come over with our hook already wrapped twice. We're going to come right here into this very first stitch. We're going to insert, and we're going to do a triple crochet into that. So there is our first. We're going to do that 2 more times, 1 into each of the next 2 stitches. So we're going to do a triple crochet in the very next stitch. 2. And we're going to wrap twice around our hook again and go right here into this very next stitch. And we're going to finish that out with another triple crochet. So now we're going to chain. So now we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So let's get an idea of where we're at on our project. So we're going to come over here and we're going to do a triple crochet into each of these next 3 triple crochets. So we're skipping this chain 3. So we're going to go ahead and wrap our yarn twice around our hook. And we're going to come right here to this next triple crochet. Insert right there on the top of it and finish out doing a triple crochet. Wrap twice right here. Next one. Go ahead and do the same exact thing. Another triple crochet. And last but not least, we're going to do very last triple crochet. Pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Now we're going to end our repeat right there. We're going to go ahead and start our repeat again once more. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Begins our repeat. We're going to skip over this chain. We're going to skip over these 3 single crochets. We're going to skip over this chain and we're going to come and work right here into these 3 triple crochets from the previous row. And we're going to place a triple crochet, 1 in each of those next 3. So just like we just did, very easy, simple row to remember. We're going to do a triple crochet. We're going to wrap twice and we're going to go right into the very next stitch and do another triple crochet. And we're going to wrap twice again, go right there in the very next stitch, insert, pull up that loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Now we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we're going to wrap twice. We're going to skip over that chain 3. And we're going to come right over here to this other side. And we're going to do a triple crochet into the top of those next 3 triple crochets from the previous row. So there's 1. Got to do this 2 more times, 1 in each of these next 2 stitches. So another triple crochet, wrap twice, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, wrap twice again, right here into this very next stitch, insert, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And that ends your repeat. So you're going to go ahead and finish on out your row. We'll meet back up to end the row together. This is row number 5. So we've got one more row after this, and then we'll move on to the construction techniques. You'll be continuing on with the number of repeats you need to do for this panel. But we'll get to that in a moment. So go ahead and pause here and meet back up with me when you're ready to end do the end of this row. All right, so hopefully you are ready to meet back up with me. We've got a chain 3 right here in our hook because we started out the repeat after finishing out this section. I chained 3. Now I've just got the very end of the row to do. So this is what your work is looking like. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into that row in. So we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. And just like before, we're going to skip over this chain. We're going to skip over these 3 single crochets. Skip this chain, and we're going to identify we've got 3 triple crochets right here at the end of the row. So we're going to go ahead and go right there into that first one and do a triple crochet. So just like we've been doing down the rest of this row. So we're going to do a total of 3 of those. So there's 1. So I'm going to go right here into this very next stitch and do second one. And last but not least, I'm going to handle this third one right here. Just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to chain 4 so that we have a symmetrical end with this row down here. So we're going to chain 4. And so we're going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to wrap our yarn 3 times around our hook. And we're going to find the top of this chain 4 that began this row down here. So we're going to count up from the bottom. There's 1, 2, 3. And right there is number 4. So we're going to go right there into that 4th stitch. And we're going to pull up a loop. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So take a look. We've got some nice straight sides. Everything's nice and even, just like we want it to be. So we're going to go ahead and start out with row number 6. This is our final row. You're just going to chain 1 and turn your work this time. And now we're going to go right back down into this very first stitch. It's coming right off of that stitch we just finished. We have this loop right here. We're going to work in that very first stitch, top of that first stitch, and do a single crochet. And now we're going to work right here on that chain 4 space and do 1 more single crochet. See how that's working out, guys? So now to go ahead and move on, we're going to chain 5 and start clustering again. So this is our very last row. This is how you're going to end any of your panels that you work on. You want to do them this last row each time. So you have a nice straight edge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we chain 5 to begin our repeat for this row. And now we're going to be looking down here. We're going to cluster together the 3 triple crochets on this side. We're going to skip this chain 3. And we're going to move over here and cluster these 3 triple crochets together. So just like we've done before, we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. And we're going to come right down here. So we're skipping the rest of this chain back here. Coming right here to this first triple crochet. We're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. And we're going to hold it with the 2 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap our yarn again twice around our hook. Go right here to this very next stitch. Insert into the top of that. Pull up a loop and pull through 2. Grab and pull through 2. Grab and hold it. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again. Got to do 1 more of these. So we're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. And we're going to hold it with the 4 loops on our hook. Now we're going to wrap twice around our hook. And we're going to skip over this chain 3. And come right here to this next triple crochet. And we're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2 and hold it with now 5 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap twice around our hook. We're going to go right here into this very next stitch. We're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with now 6 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap twice around our hook again. We're going to go right down here into this very last triple crochet. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 7 loops on our hook. And that's our signal to grab and pull through all 7 of those loops that are on our hook. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to come over here to that chain 9, and we're going to work 3 single crochets right there on that chain 9. 2 and 3. And now you're going to begin your repeat again by chaining 5. You will cluster together these next 6 stitches. You will chain 5 again. You'll place your 3 single crochets right here on this chain 9 space, and then your repeat will begin again. So you're going to go ahead and finish out the rest of this row, and we're going to meet back up at the end of the row to finish out the end of this row, and then you'll be ready to move on and complete another repeat of this pattern for as many rows as you need for the size that you are doing. And then we will be meeting back up in another video to finish out our construction. I'll show you guys how to create your next panel for your sleeves and back, and we'll move right along into our body panels from there, and we'll do a quick little how to sew it all up, and you guys will be ready to wear this top in no time. So you're going to go ahead and continue on down, clustering together these next 6 stitches, and then we will meet back up at the end of your row to finish out the repeat. All right, so we're meeting up back here at the end of the row. We've got this chain 5 plus a chain 4 for a total of chain 9 down here. And you've just clustered together your last set of stitches. So you got a chain 5 right here on your hook. And we're going to be doing a single crochet right here around this chain space. So you're just going to do 1 single crochet. And now you're going to count up and find the top of the 5th chain. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to insert our hook right there into the top of that chain 5 and do our last single crochet. And now from here, you are going to be able to continue on to do the recommended number of repeats that are down there in that description. And they will, it's going to determine what size yarn will determine how many you really need to do. But you can see down below how many of these you need. You'll be able to rewind this video back to row 2 is where you'd be starting out. You'll be able to rewind and watch the video over if you need help continuing on up from here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and look for the next video to move on with the construction of your Claira Belle top.